Got started already. So this is the town council meeting for the courtesy of YouTube that Fred turned on and the audio. Dated Wednesday, July 17, 2019. And we've already done the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to do a roll call right now.
Mike McLaughlin here.
Debbie Cobb here.
Marty Lisenby here.
Paul Edwardson here. Eddie Bass there.
And Mayor's Town update, I've got a couple things to go over with everybody. First off, on the wall, right above Junior's head, there is a realignment layout of what Main Street is going to look like. I ran into county. They've got that drawing finished up. I've talked to the landowners in that particular area. Everybody's in agreement that they're happy with what they see so far. And the county is going to be approaching the COG. We do have some seats up front if you want to join us up here. Sorry, it's the front row.
All right.
It's not church though, so it's okay. You can say it. And the COG is a committee that has funds available. They're going to pay for the engineering to realign all of the easements and take care of the old roads, giving them back to the landowners, things like that, doing all that paperwork. And so it's kind of fun to see so much come together, and it's really not going to cost us a ton of money. When we start buying some road base for the road, then we'll spend some money. But basically, Hilldale's said that they want to help us with the realignment. They're going to bring some heavy equipment out to help move dirt. UDOT is taking care of everything from Main Street, from the SR 59 to the cattle guards. We'll take it past the cattle guards. It'll be our responsibility to do that, those turns and realignments from there. And that's where Hilldale will come in. They'll help us move some dirt. We'll take our grader and our equipment out there, and we'll do some stuff, as well. And then we've got some volunteers that have offered to help make that happen as well. About the only thing it'll cost us is, between some, probably throw down some cinders first and then some road base on top of that. Anyway, so that's the update on that. So the paperwork is started on that. We also have these two sheets I put on the wall today are the bathrooms. We have a meeting tomorrow night, 6 o'clock here at the office. That's I'll call it a construction meeting. We're putting a notice out on that, so we don't anticipate necessarily anybody, but probably me and the contractors involved to show up at that meeting. But just in case we had planning people or town council people, we're noticing the meeting just so it's not a quorum problem or issue. So, and the public is invited, of course, for any feedback, or if you're curious what's going on, or you just want to be here to help out. So that's what the bathrooms would look like, and it has on this one here kind of gives you a location of where those bathrooms would be. So feel free to take a look at those, and we'll go from there. So. So I've been chasing down those guys mow those highway weeds for some time. It looks like we finally got around to it. I noticed there was some doodling out there on the SR 59. I've also been pushing them on restriping those highways in two spots, by the cabins, one in turn arrows, and to kind of turn that lane from a passing lane into a turn lane by the cabins, and then with arrows and lines that they normally would do on the highway. And that looks like that's going to happen, because I noticed a bunch of marks out on the highway. Also at Bubbling Wells, there's a passing lane right there where that intersection is, which is just insane to have someone trying to turn left while someone else is trying to pass in the same area. And so I think that'll happen at the same time, because that's the two things I've been talking to them about for about 6 or 7 months. And with some marks on the road, I'm thinking that's finally going to happen. I've talked to him just since a couple weeks ago. And, we went from one budget year to the next budget year, and that's kind of why it got slowed down, apparently. So excited about that part. 4% sales tax increase. One of the county meetings I was at recently, they did pass on a resolution that was passed by the county to increase our sales tax by 4%. That's something that the larger cities were pushing for. St. George in particular because of their Suntrans system. The 4%, all of it goes to some type of transportation enhancements that help pay for the operation of those facilities, including transportation up to, I think even up to Springdale. As far as us, it affects us when we go buy something and we don't really get anything out of it for dollars. So I wasn't ever for that at all because there's no benefit to us. Anyway, I just wanted to make everybody aware that's coming down the pike. And flood seminar, last couple of days I've spent at a flood seminar that's put on by, I'll call it the Flood Smart Seminar, is kind of what the title of it was, and it's put on by the state, and FEMA was present along with the engineers that do a lot of this LiDAR and different type of things as far as the mapping. I learned a lot about it. They have national flood program. We're a part of it. Our community is part of it. So anybody wanting to buy flood insurance for their home, they're able to do that. If it's in a floodplain, that insurance goes up based on the risk. But if you're not in a floodplain, it's not very expensive. And somebody that's maybe not in a floodplain would be some of these properties that we know that are real close to the office here that they get flooded every time it rains real heavy, yet they do have insurance available at a pretty reasonable price because you're not technically in a flood zone. Time drives, none of that's flood zone, even though we all know it floods every time it seems to rain. So some of those people, I didn't realize that you don't have to be in a flood area to participate in that flood insurance program. Some of the things that we learned was they did fly Apple Valley, a portion of it, a good portion of it, with a LiDAR, which is basically a very accurate topographical. This will come in handy when we're trying to do our engineering for a FEMA grant that we're working on. And having that information available could be, it's very accurate, but it's hopefully going to save some money overall on that. We did, on the CIB grant, we put in for a grant to help pay for all that engineering, and we were awarded a grant on that. We should see the paperwork any time where we can pay for impact fee studies and for the flood studies that we need for the FEMA grant. And after meeting these people at FEMA and talking with them, I can just see where having pictures, anything that you guys have that shows the flooding, video especially. I've talked to Buddy James, he's going to share some video with me. He's right down the T intersection right here. And he talks about rocks this size that used to be in his yard that are just all gone now. That's how much water has gone through there at that speed to be able to remove all those big rocks out of there. But that's the kind of stuff that they're gonna, that pulls the heartstrings for FEMA to help us with that grant. So if you've got any photographs, sharing with us would be helpful to help make sure that we can get that grant to help us set up permanent solutions instead of these Band-Aid solutions. And anyway, it was fun to get to meet everybody. The other thing that we talked about in that meeting was the ordinances. So in our ordinances, I need to check and find out what ordinances we have in place. They have a written ordinance that they just hand it to me and say, here's what we suggest. And so I need to see what we're using, if anything, now, and then we'll propose including that if it's not included already, because it gives us teeth in any type of construction that's in any type of area that is in a flood hazard area. Now you have to go to FEMA to get authorization to do whatever it is you're trying to do in a flood hazard area. And I learned about base elevations and a lot of everything. It was eye-opening to be able to learn all of the things that they look for when they're looking at a project. And there's so many other details I can go into, but basically it's it's kind of a big deal is when you're trying to build something in a flood hazard area, we don't have the power to say, oh, okay, we'll let this one slide. You know, that's not in our ability as a community. And if we do, then we become liable for some of the repercussions that can come from that. So it's important that we're paying attention to any of the flood hazard areas. If someone's trying to build in a flood hazard area, doing it properly, that they have proper paperwork and permitting and authorizations and so forth. So anyway, so I'll be looking into that ordinances to make sure that we're in compliance with that as well. Anyway, that's let me just go to my list of to-dos here. All right, so I'll leave it at that. All right, so discussion and action. Number one on our agenda is purchase of the road room. We have Richard Fisher. Did I see you? Did you come in yet, or no? Okay. Hope we get some feedback from Richard. I've talked to him one-on-one, but I kind of wanted him to talk out loud. Denny, do you want to say anything about it? The road room, and what's the feedback you got?
Well, we've had that on a lot of the roads, and most of the people are very happy with what we're doing. And it helps a little bit if we wet the roads down a little, and it kind of piles the material up in the center and then levels it out so you get a good base. There's a few roads we're still looking at. We have a map that we've been going by and trying to get people's feedback to where they think the worst roads are, and those are the ones we'll try to hit first. If anybody out there says their roads are bad, please give us a call and let us know so we can go out and take a look and see what we can do to help you. But so far, it's working very well.
Well, where we're at with the road room up till now, it's been just a, we get to try it before we buy it situation. And that's what I love about it, is if we decided that we don't like it, it's not effective tool in our arsenal, then we don't have to buy it. And my conversation with Richard, because he's been the guy that's, I pulled it. I know Jerry has. Jerry here? No, you have Jerry. Anyway, Jerry pulled it, and
We went fishing.
Anyway, there's Rich Fisher was saying that it's just point blank asked him, is it worth buying? What do you want to do? And he says, absolutely. It helps out a lot. It's quick and easy to pull, and it zeroes out. There you go, Richard Fisher, you're on deck. Can you come up front? We're asking about the road room, and I'd like just if you give everybody some feedback on your feelings on should we buy it or shouldn't we buy it.
Might need a little extra weight. Some of the roads are hard, but I think so far it's doing a really good job. Kind of one of the interesting things about it is with the blade on the side with a little catch, it pulls the road base back onto the road rather than just kicking it off like we do with the road grader most of the time. Puts it back on, grades it back out. We hit that a few times with the road groomer, and then go every 4 or 5 times we hit it with a blade. I think, I mean, for the money, it's doing a pretty good job.
And I like the trailability of it. Our goal so far, we've just been using dump truck, because what you don't see is there's a pump and car battery in the dump truck and that run the hydraulics on it. And we haven't wanted to touch it because we have to make sure we want to buy it before we start modifying it. But I think the thing to do would be to mount that pump system on the road groomer itself and make it to where we can just even probably pull it with the 450 out here, and then we can start hauling cinders with the dump truck, which is what we bought it for, not to pull that. So anyway, anybody have big feelings about this at all, or do you feel like this is going to help us out?
I think it's a good idea. Anybody out there have any concerns about the roads? Have they seen some of the roads we're working on?
What does it cost?
It's $20,335.
You have to ask people on the dirt roads that, I don't live on dirt roads, so, people out of Gooseberry, do they like the roads groomed, for example? Coyote, wherever else they're using it?
I know I got a lot of calls from people that just say thank you, because it's,
Yeah.
their roads are so much better. Janet was probably one of
We
them.
now have a roundabout for the first time in 10 years.
But we dragged that, and we had some road base there, well, we're gonna do the same out in Gooseberry. Given our new, budget year, I'll see where we're at on that, and what I'd like to do is purchase some road base out in Gooseberry as well, and get that spread out. Hmm?
How it was paid for.
The road room is, that 20,000 is budgeted in this year's budget to pay cash for it. It's not a payment thing, and it's paid for by BC road funds. You can buy equipment to maintain your roads through BC road funds. And so it's not, coming out of it's coming out of our town budget, obviously, but BC road funds is what it's paying for. It's those monies that we get from them. Anyway, so at this point, what we do is just probably reconfigure it to pull behind the F-450 that we have out here, and then we can start hauling cinders with the other trucks, so we get that pump out of the back. And we would like to make the roads better, and my whole goal is, all along, has been, let's spend less money on people, and spend more money on road base and equipment, so we can get some things done. And we've hauled cinders where we haven't had cinders hauled before. We've graded roads that haven't been graded before, and we're grooming more roads than we ever have in this town before, in the years I've lived here. Any questions from anybody?
We still have the problem with the paved roads, there's a lot of damage. I mean, you said earlier that when summer came, when winter was over, we'd start patching them up, but I haven't seen any work done with any of them.
Right, and we have an estimate on those, paved roads. Some of them belong to the water district, some of them belong to the town.
Okay.
The total is about, I think it's ballpark around $9,000 to patch up all of those, spots. And, the budget year, you know, we've spent so much money on culverts, fixing roads like the Apple Valley Way. We put in culverts in there, and that hasn't been done in 25 years. And it's washed out every time. That last time it washed out, it was dangerous. It was flat. We had a 3-foot ditch there that people were having their cars fall into. And so I had to fix those kind of things, and I didn't want to fix it with just fill up the hole one more time so it would wash out next time it rains. We put culverts in this time. And that kind of took away from our BC funds as well. And then, so what we're trying to accomplish is just more with less in the way we're doing it. We've got 6 volunteers that work on a regular basis, either pulling the road groomer, or we're hauling some cinders, or we're road grading.
So you're saying the new budget will take care of the
That's
paved
what
roads?
it'll be on the list of targets, is to fix those. For the town, mostly it's those crossings where they didn't compact them properly when they were built.
Right.
They did a crummy job, and they put a pipe there that's sunk down. Now we have all these divots everywhere. On the water district side, they have cutouts from hookups and not properly repaired or not repaired at all, and so we're gonna be charging them. That's not even very much. It's like $3,000 or something like that. That's what they came out to. Anyway, I'm gonna get that paperwork over to them and see if we can make that happen in this year's budget. So, anyway, you get that. How are you feeling about the? We have a motion to.
I move that we
purchase.
purchase, yeah, I move that we purchase the road room using the 15 budget funds.
Okay.
I second that motion.
Gonna vote?
Aye.
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 And motion carries. And item number 2, storm drainage and grant status. I think I've already said enough about that in the mayor's comments, so we'll skip over that. Item number 3, water district late fee distribution. We were gonna do a resolution on this, and it failed to get through legal in time. Our attorney's been on vacation pretty much. He called it rotator cuff surgery. I call it vacation. Was a little bit of both, I guess. A little vacation and a little surgery. But Anyway, so we're gonna table item 3 for distribution. Basically, what this is gonna be about is, I agreed, clear back in September when they first made me mayor, that we're going to provide late fees to the water district. And, I was just thinking one night that we never did, do a vote on it and, make it legal, so we're just cleaning up our mess. And so we're gonna get a resolution written up to that effect, basically, and we'll do a vote on that, so it's official. Item 4, firewood. I think we have someone who wants to spend a couple minutes talking to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Been trying to make it out here for a while. I'm sure you guys seen a letter from the state a few months back. Not sure when. They kind of went randomly out to all the cities throughout the entire state. I think there was some miscommunication through our Salt Lake office, so all the cities in the state got put back on probation with the agreements that the city signed, which Mayor Campbell was the mayor at the time when the city signed it. Some of the stuff that was involved with that, the fire chief has got everything up to date. The one concern that we had, a part of that agreement, with providing initial attack, we wanted to see an official agreement with the 911 dispatch centers saying they're dispatching your city. That hasn't occurred, and I know the chief has been working on that. Got some good information from the county dispatch center out of St. George PD that most everyone in the county is using. I think between them and the Utah Communications Authority, we in the county, if we need to be involved, we should be able to get the equipment that we need to get the city online to being dispatched out of St. George with everyone else, which brings along the Spillman stuff and being paged through the Everbridge system, so all the firefighters on the department will get a text. So he's been doing a good job staying on top of that stuff. So you guys aren't necessarily on probation anymore because everything's been turned in, and he's moving towards getting that agreement in place. So once you guys get all the details of that, what it'll look like going forward, I don't think the costs are going to be a whole lot because you're already paying the sheriff's office to cover for law enforcement, which kind of covers part of that dispatch deal. So it'll be a matter of putting in a little more infrastructure so that the radios can work inside structures, if it's a working structure fire, that sort of stuff. I don't think that the interaction with Colorado City's 911 dispatch will really change because they're already sharing all that information. Because if it's a law, it goes to them. If it's EMS, it goes to or fire, and they've been gracious enough to take on that workload for your city and pay you guys out with any compensation. So
Is that hardware that's required on the tower already that's out here, radio tower, or is this?
we have some of it.
Yeah.
There is one tower on Little Creek Mesa. The secondary tower is over by Rockville, so it's really shaded on this side. So there's some areas that aren't 100% covered, and because it's not a real strong signal here, like this building, for example, if you guys have seen, your cell phone don't work in here, our radios don't work in here. You have to have external towers, that sort of thing. But I think with another tower somewhere here in the valley, it would take care of all that, and it would help law enforcement as well be covered when they're out on their handhelds versus having to be inside a truck using their mobile radios as much as well. So, yeah. You guys have any other questions for me? Okay, we'll continue to work with the chief and stay on top of that.
All right, thanks for your comments.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Item 5, approval of minutes for July 3rd.
Yes, and they're good.
I've looked at them, they look all right to me.
Any questions?
Any comments?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes, town council meeting, July 3rd, 2019.
Second.
Vote.
Aye.
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 And that is approved. I want to move reports and recommendations ahead of public comments. They won't take as long, probably, as the public comments. And so let's start off with events. Tish, you wanna give us a report on that? I was gonna do that in my mayor's update and I forgot, so just spill your guts on whatever you wanna share.
Okay, so the 4th of July was great. I mean, we had 150 plus people. We ran out of hamburgers. And we had Scoop and Boogie, and everybody had a really good time. We had a volunteer DJ and a volunteer line dancing. The kids drafted me into a water balloon fight and I lost. And they're still talking about it. Y'all are really good. And anyway, I just want to thank everybody for helping and all the hard work that the events committee did. And we're having an ice cream social this Saturday, 7 o'clock, and we're going to have some games afterwards. We've got lights now in the pavilion, and so we're not limited. And when it cools down, have some ice cream and come out and play some chess or checkers or Monopoly or whatever. So anyway, thanks.
Had several from the community come up and say what an awesome community we have here because of that event. And it was nice to see that they just were grateful for what was going on. The dancing was amazing. The DJ, he was going to just stay till about 9 o'clock, ended up staying until after 9:30 even, and just people were just still dancing. So it was pretty cool to see that happen. And anyway, we didn't raise any money. We didn't try to raise any money. It's a conversation we'll probably don't need to have this minute, but we'll probably continue to have because when I walk up to the table and I see a sign that suggests that you give a donation, it almost makes me feel like I better do a donation. And I don't want anybody to come to me and feel like they better bring their checkbook with them. And I'd rather have them just be there at the Ice Cream Social or whatever event it is and not make it about money or about trying to, there's times, we've had causes and reasons we want to try to raise money, but I don't know that we have to go out there every time and make anybody feel obligated. And because of that, we did not have a donation box out there. We didn't charge anybody for anything. We just served a lot of hamburgers and had a lot of fun, and I think it worked really well. So thanks for all the hard work on the events committee. There was a tremendous amount of help from a lot of people. Planning Commission, anything we want to share there, Mike?
I'm good.
All right, Fire Department.
Yes.
You have something you want to share?
So we didn't get the Forest Service grant this year. It's a $10,000 grant. We got it 2 years ago. Didn't get it this year. Didn't make the cut, I guess. So on control with them dispatching us out, I got a little more information. It's sounding like it's going to be roughly in between $75 and $200 a month, and then that's plus connectivity fee. So the one thing that this does help with, it will help with our ISO rating, also our call volume. It'll help with a lot of other stuff too. Mutual aid, it'll help with a lot of things. So it's a good step, and I think it's a great addition to this area. Also, we got 48 hours of hazmat training. We'll be doing that this weekend and the next weekend and the weekend after that. There's 3 firefighters that will be attending that. Also, I still have the basic wildland class, and I'm teaching the new recruits and everything like that. So hopefully we can have that wrapped up in the next month or so, is what it's looking like. So also, this is for the fire department. So I know this is for all the firefighters. This is for everybody who's been here before. Okay. Fire department is requesting an apology from this town council to the past and present volunteers for the accusations about the illegal acts that the council accused the fire department of. This fire department has volunteered thousands of hours and saved multiple lives and does not deserve this slander. That's all I have to say.
And Harold Merritt, I don't think he's here.
I'm dressed like Harold right now. We haven't had meetings for a little bit, but consumer confidence reports are out for Cedar Point and Apple Valley, so come in and get a consumer confidence report, or they're online also, see what's in your water. Other than that, still pumping and filling tanks. Everybody looks hydrated.
We put the sign up at the bulletin board.
She did. Didn't you do that?
Yeah, well, I put the one out here, and then I don't have a key to the other one, so Debbie put that one.
Thank you, Debbie.
Okay. Code enforcement, Rich, anything you want to share?
Well, just a couple of things. I sent out a lot of violation notices for the toxic weeds. And this is not just private owners, homeowners, it's developers. There's lots of land there that doesn't help when they control towns when they don't control those. A number of notices are thrown out, a little late, but better late than never, and we just have to get it, under control. I met for about an hour tonight with a person, started out as a violation, but then it ended up very positive, and he's going to contribute to the town a little bit. Very knowledgeable. So I met with him. I don't necessarily have to do a nuisance complaint. People don't like nuisance complaints. It's a matter that I don't tell anybody. Some people do a verbal thing, and maybe I can stop by. I will only stop by at a people's residence if I feel like I'm welcome, because I've been told to leave the properties when all I'm there for is just to give. And mostly people don't understand the violation. Well, if there is a town, people move here and you're in the country and they say, we don't live in a town. But that's not the case. Without some rules, you're not a town. So I try to inform people in the best manner I can, whether it's a car parked on the road, or whether it's a dog, or whatever I can do to help the town. So, but I can't do it without you. My position is volunteer. And the only reason I have it is because nobody else volunteered. So, I guess that's where I'm stuck. And I don't mind doing it and spending some time with everybody. It gets me to know everybody. I've been on both sides of the fence. So it isn't like this is my first rodeo. But cooperation and a good thought goes a long ways. And 99% of the people are okay with it. They just didn't realize it. So those I want to thank, and I do thank them, and I do make return calls. And if they correct the problem, and I do make phone calls. And sometimes all you need is a phone call back, because no one ever calls them back. So they appreciate, and I call 2 or 3 times. So I don't mind spending a little time with the town, but the town needs to spend a little time with me and kind of support me, and maybe we can all get along. I always think of my glass as half full. I think a lot of people think that theirs is half empty, but a code enforcer is desperately needed in the town compared to what's happened in the past. That's all.
I just can't let the moment pass. Rich Osowski is, it's a tough job when you have to go out there and tell somebody that you don't like what they're doing, or there's a problem. It was kind of fun. We were in a staff meeting last Wednesday, I think it was, and we were talking about a particular problem of new Connex that came in, and talking about what to do about it. It was a magical moment when the people that we're talking about walked into the staff meeting, and it's like, oh, good thing you're here. We were just putting the gallows together. Just get ready to tie that noose anyway. And, you know, she teared up a little bit, and I was just kidding with her, and anyway, it was fun to be able to talk it through with them in that moment, in a matter of a couple of minutes, we had a solution, figured out that they were okay with, and same with the code, everybody in the room was okay with, and so, anyway, good job, Rich, you trying to make people aware of these things, yet do it in a nice enough way that people don't feel like they just got beat up, so. Roads and storm drainage, any, you wanna report on that?
I think we've already talked about the roads and what we've done on the drains.
I agree with that. And mosquito abatement, Margaret, you got
Nothing.
anything you want to say? Say,
No,
okay.
no, here.
All right. And so that's it for reports and recommendations. I'd like to say that the public comments are coming up, and we've got a timer up here. We're gonna just limit everybody to 3 minutes. If everybody talks, we'll end up with a 3-hour meeting probably. And so, like to have everybody understand, we tolerate crosstalk a lot, and in this kind of environment, I think it's best just to let someone say their piece and they sit down. The next person gets to say their piece and they sit down. We're not gonna do any of this mudslinging across the room and yelling and screaming, and that will be tolerated. I'm not sure who's gonna be the bouncer, but a couple of us will take care of the problem, and you'll be ejected from the room if it gets out of hand. I think we can keep it nice and civil though. I don't think it's, and everybody can say their piece, and I think it'll be, everybody feel heard, yet at the same time, it'll be in a timely way. I'd like to start with town council before we open public comments. If anybody got anything they want to
Yeah, I
say?
do. I'd like to make a comment. I want to clarify a few things that happened on the 4th of July fireworks situation. The St. George News reported that your fire chief stated that in no way that he had brought in illegal fireworks or purchased fireworks for this year's show. That is not really the truth. And let me explain. On June 26th, approximately 3:45, he called me and quote, "We'd like to use you and abuse you to go get fireworks because I'm ex-military, I get a discount." I said, "Well, that'd be a good idea, I don't care about that, that'll help the town." And I said, "We can go together." So that Friday, June the 28th, around 5 p.m., I called him back, said I was gonna go down Saturday morning, pick up the fireworks, and he kind of hemmed and hawed, "Well, no, I'm gonna be too busy, I got mitigation." So he couldn't go. Needless to say, I find out that he canceled mitigation some time ago for that Saturday. Within a couple hours of coming back to the town, he had called the fire marshal, his group had called the newspaper, and called the state to say we did something illegal. The only thing we did illegal, and I'll step that part, is I have made 2 big mistakes. One is believing in the fire chief. The second is not calling the fire marshal myself and trying to figure out what we could and could not do. That was my mistake, and I apologize for that. But I find it very alarming, disgusting that he would use somebody to try to get back to the town council and the mayor for his own benefit. He's done that, so what else has he done? My comment.
Okay, anybody else have anything you want?
I have nothing to say.
Okay, all right, we'll open up public comment. So the way that's gonna work, there is a hash mark for something on the floor, and there's some blue tape up here. And we put that there intentionally, so if you're gonna say something, you can come up to the front of the room and say it. And, you'll be speaking to the town council, as the public comments are directed to the town council, but the cameras, I've moved the camera in such a way that you'll be able to have your YouTube moment too. So, anyway, Michelle's gonna control the agenda from here as far as who's up next, and I'll control the timer. I'd like to please respect the timer and keep your comments to 3 minutes.
May I just interject something here? I've been to town council meetings before. I used to work for a city, and this is generally pro forma of town council meetings or city council meetings. Generally, it's from 3 to 6 minutes, depending on the town, for public comments. So it's not something we just came up with.
I was at a tax meeting. They only had 30 people show up in this huge auditorium of people, and they only allowed 30 people to sign up. and we have 1.5 minutes, so say whatever you want to say. So, it's hard to get everything in 1.5 minutes that you want to think about talking as far as them raising taxes and that kind of stuff, so. Anyway, so, Michelle?
Okay, so the first person is Rich Osowski.
Wow.
Come on down.
Thank you. This has not too much to do with code enforcement. Every Wednesday, I attend a meeting here in the morning with the mayor, the accountant, Michelle, myself, and the fire chief. That's who's supposed to be here. All I can do is tell you what I know. Some of you were here, the mayor was there, Michelle was there. That meeting before the 4th of July, we had, all of us was at the meeting, and the mayor brought up fireworks. And like all the years previously, fireworks were great for the kids. I've been to some of them, most of them. The mayor said that the fireworks, and we're concerned about all this dead grass around here, like you would be, and he said he would cut it down, have it cut down, and Junior, the fire chief, said that he'll water it down. That was right before the 4th of July. So we were on agreement that that was a pretty good deal, because it's for the kids, it's not for us. And that ended the thing on that discussion. Being the code enforcer, maybe I should have been in the loop. Maybe not have solved something, but nobody told me there was a problem. I didn't know until it all blew up with the article. Well, the article, I talked to that journalist, I felt sorry for her, mostly because she just got out of journalism school. This was her first assignment, and she messed up. And she said she messed up, and she tried to correct it. Sometimes when you correct something, you make it worse. And she really felt bad about it. But this was her first assignment. Now, there's always fake news, and you know, and they do mess up. I felt like, and I know people that call the paper or the South, you know, at St. George, and talk to people down there and yell at people down there. I can't totally blame her. Now, the fireworks, we didn't have them. It just blew up for whatever reason, you know. And I was there, and I'll tell you what, I was just amazed. I helped put up lights. It's a funny story on the lights. I don't know what happened there, but we put them up, and the mayor didn't like them because they were too low and they'll break the bulbs. So, okay, so I went back and raised them, and then I came back and somebody raised them all the way to the roof. So we got a little confused there, but regardless. Okay, I could ask for an extension. Thank you.
I really appreciate the opportunity to be heard.
Over here, Forrest, over here, Forrest.
For now, I have no comment, Rich. Thank you.
Not surprising.
Hey, Red, way to go.
Janet Prentice.
Hi, my name is Janet Prentice. I've been here for 25 years. I've worked on the planning commission for 4 years now, under 3 mayors. One got a lot of things done that we didn't approve of or pass. He's gone. Under Bob Campbell, we've got everything in order again, all our codes and everything again. And now things are moving. And my family came to Hurricane in 1962. And we hoped that hadn't changed, but it has. I remember St. George with Dick's Cafe, and the bus stop was there, and the hotel, and that was it. And we hoped it wouldn't change, but it did. a lot of people hope Apple Valley is not gonna change, but it's going to. But we've gotta do it smart. We need a good city manager. And more things have gotten done under Marty. And we've gotten good projects in, where they're gonna be using brown water instead of portable water for a golf course. And people are gonna be adding to the community and having a nicer look about it, more family look. And it's just gonna be a better place for all of us. And I think we're still gonna have our privacy like we wanted. And I'm glad to see police presence up here as often as it is, because that is so nice having the speed limit changed. But if we think that we can have this all to ourselves, we're mistaken. And what's going on with all the other garbage in town, my mother, Joan Perry, who lived here for 30 years, said, don't believe a thing that you hear, and only half of what you see. And I see good work here. And it was the planning commission. We're not yelling at each other anymore. We're listening to each other. And that's what we've needed. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. Colleen Key.
I just had a question for you, really. You know that a lot of people in town don't want growth at all. And quite frankly, I would be delighted if there wasn't any, but I know it's gonna happen. I hope that we have the kind of growth that will help our town. What I would like to hear from you people is, what do you expect the town to be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? Because that's gonna tell me a lot about what I'm looking at. I've heard that Jefferson Canyon is expecting 300,000 people a year in their first year. That's all tourists, and I'd really rather see residents than tourists. I've lived in a tourist town, it's not fun. I would personally rather see homes, residents. But I don't know what you're really looking at. I don't know what you're expecting. And that leaves me hanging up in the air. And I'd really like to hear some projection of what we're looking at.
Thank you.
You can always move.
I can, and I might.
Louis.
Take me off someplace.
No comment?
I just thought it was a present list. Oh, really, I wanted you all to know I remembered my address. Yeah, for future meetings, we'll be taking roll.
That's one thing I miss about Louis Ford, is he always had a good job for us. Thanks for reading.
Margie Otoxie.
What? Already? What do I see in Rich?
All right, I just want to thank our events committee for a wonderful event. I think everybody that helped us, we just had a great time, and it turned out really good. And I want to, Colleen? I want to say something to Colleen, because I was actually talking to somebody today in regards to Apple Valley, and this person said, and what you brought up, Apple Valley needs to figure out what they want to be. Do they want to, and where it wants to go, and everybody needs to get on board once they figure out what they want with their town. So, that's what we need to do.
Okay, Rich Cox.
First, I want to thank the mayor and the council for the hard work they do. It's a thankless job. Does everybody make 100% correct decision every time? No. But they do their best. Believe me, I see the work that my wife puts in personally. I know these guys personally. The attacks from the other side, the baseless attacks, are just unwarranted, and they're, quite frankly, they're disgusting. the wedge that you're putting between this community is just, it's, I don't even know if it's gonna be fixable at this point. The fire chief, to lie, you called my wife first about the Moapa situation. And for you to sit there like, you're pathetic. The fire department should watch. When Chief Louis stepped down from, I'm gonna say you stepped down, Chief, because I know you were stepping down at the end of the year. I know you know he was part of you getting bounced, and he was part of Denny getting a bad rap. You should be ashamed of yourself. You know that you are guilty as charged. Look at you can't even look at me. Once again, when it comes to the, thank God we have the Hilldale Fire Department covering our butts. Thank you. Because without Hilldale, we would be DOA. So I don't even know what the ultimate goal of the Apple Valley Fire Department is. Can you explain it to me someday? I don't even know. It's always training, 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 but nothing happens. But you look at you.
Thank you.
Telling you, dude, you are shameful. Once again, I want to thank Hilldale, because without you, you know we're dead. You know, and the council, I appreciate all your hard work. Countless things the mayor has freaking done for us. And for what? What, so you can talk about them? It's ridiculous, it really is. Did you have a problem with the way the road was cut? What, did they miss a couple of blades? Well, what's next? It's a shame. Thank you.
Maria Campbell.
Already? Well, I'm sorry. Maria Campbell here. I also want to thank the Events Committee volunteers and Mayor Marty Biconi for putting together a fantastic 4th of July celebration. The food, the games, the music, the DJ, the land dancing, everything was amazing. My family, my friends and I had a blast. It was a great event. Thank you for caring for our community, and thank you for your hard work. You do great.
Thank you for volunteering.
Other groups.
All right, 3 minutes, right?
In the box.
We'll go through the,
So you're running the tape.
We'll go through the meeting, or we'll actually go through the phone call that you lied about. Phone call came in. I missed it. I called him back, asked him what it was about. He said, I heard from Michael McLaughlin that you wanted to go with us to Moapa to pick up fireworks. I said, no, I have mitigation. I hung up the phone. He said, before I hung up the phone, he said, I must be confused. That's exactly what he said. I called Michael, and I said, hey, Mike, was I supposed to be involved in this going to Moapa to get fireworks? Mike said, I didn't tell him that. Mike also said, I'll call Denny and figure out what's going on. And he asked me if I wanted to go, and I told him I had prior obligations that weren't canceled at that time. Once again, you're wrong. And they were canceled later that day when I find out that most of my firefighters are off. On vacation, I can't remember where they were, and doing stuff for the weekend. Next, I called Debbie about mitigation day. Then I call her back, I think it was, to say that I canceled it. Then she tells me that these guys are going down to Moapa and asks me if I would like to go. This is the truth, whether you want to believe it or not. This is the truth. Then I hang up the phone with her after she asks me that, and I tell her I have family. You should remember this because it's the truth. I have family obligations that I should hang out with my family. I'm sure that's a lie too, you know, I don't want to hang out with my family. Okay, so second of all, I don't get along with him because he's a liar, and I do get along with Michael. You think I want to sit in a car with him? Yeah, right. Give me a break. I made this up to go. Give me a break. This is a joke. And you guys are believing this joke. These are all lies.
He's a joke.
This is a joke. It really is. I called the fire marshal. Here's another lie. I called the fire marshal the day of our staff meeting. You know why I called the fire marshal? Because he scared me. Because he was worried about the weeds in that meeting. He said he had $2,000 worth of fireworks that they went and picked up. And then he asked me what I can do out there. I told him what I can do. I can wet the grass down. Immediately after that, I called the fire marshal. The first time I talked to the fire marshal, Mr. Know-It-All. First time I talked to him. You can call the fire marshal and ask him, bud. Yeah, you haven't.
I have.
That's another lie.
Oh,
Second. That's when I called. Period. You can get the fire marshal to tell you, you can get the fire warden to tell you. I was actually advised to call the ATF. I didn't do that. I was actually advised to tell him every single person who was involved, and I didn't do that. Every single one of these people up here was involved. Period.
I didn't hear about
Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that you weren't involved in that.
Okay.
I do have a comment after everybody else has a chance to.
What kind of fire chief has no idea that there's fireworks being purchased, or what's happening? Isn't that your job?
It was before they took it away, because they wanted to run it themselves, and I washed my hands of it. Period. Was that not in meeting minutes?
All right.
Okay, it's
That's what happened.
Mike's turn.
After the town council meeting, I came directly to you with other people present in front of us and asked you to be involved with setting up the fireworks and doing fireworks. And I said we were going to go purchase them down in Nevada. And I was excited for this community and for the kids that we would have fireworks for you to set off to enjoy with our community. You never came to me and said, Mike, I have a concern about us setting off fireworks that are purchased from Moapa. You never came to me with any concerns. All I found out about is that it went to the newspaper, and that all of a sudden after a meeting here in the office that you would call the fire marshal. If you had the tenacity to come to me and say, Mike, I don't feel safe about getting those fireworks, I would not have bought those fireworks. I would have just bought the ones that we can get down here at Ren's. But you didn't have the gumption to come to me and even talk to me. I would have worked with you. I was trying to work with you the day of that I found out that I was going to be in charge of getting fireworks. And so whatever happened with phone calls or miscommunication, that's all, it doesn't even matter. What matters is you didn't have the camaraderie to come to me as our fire chief, to the town council as a member, or anybody else, and say, hey guys, I don't feel comfortable doing this, or I've got other obligations and nobody's going to be here to do it. That's all you would have done. But yet it got blown up into this thing with the media and with the fire marshal, and that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Mike. Since fire chief has wanted to include me into this, I think I'll just take a second and say that when the events committee asked me about fireworks at all, this whole thing started off, if the fire chief doesn't bring up that they're doing anything for 4th of July, we're going to throw a party. And in that town meeting, the one that's prior to July 3rd, we feel like telling people July 3rd that there's going to be a 4th of July event maybe is a little bit tight. So let's go back to that one meeting that we had for town council, the only one meeting that was 3 weeks away from July 4th. And Tish was second on the list to fire chief, and we thought, if he doesn't bring it up that he's doing something for 4th of July, then we're going to throw a party. He didn't bring it up. There's no announcement that we're doing anything. There's no flyers. There's no communication in any kind of staff meeting or flyers on the wall that anything's going on. So Tish brings out that we're going to have a 4th of July event. Even in that meeting, he could have said that we'll do the fireworks, we'll help out. But that's not how Junior likes to do it. It's the fire department, it's not at all. He doesn't show up at our other events at all. And so when that staff meeting came around, before the 4th of July event, that Rich is alluding to, Ben was there, Michelle was there, Rich Osowski, myself, and for the 3rd staff meeting since I've been mayor, which is a long time, fire chief showed up. And I asked the fire chief in that staff meeting, are there any issues with the fireworks I need to be aware of? How threatening is that? Are there any issues with, do you need some help? Do you need to mow the grass? That's exactly how the tone of voice and how he said it. And a couple hours later, the fire marshal's talking to me. So he brought up nothing in that meeting, if there's any issues. He said something about his dad paid for the fireworks last year, $500 or something. I made a comment about the fireworks that were purchased for this year's event, and I had no idea that there was a problem, because the one thing I communicated to the events committee, I says, just coordinate whatever you're doing with the fire department, make sure that we're okay. That's exactly how the directive I gave them. My next communication with them was in that staff meeting, or any issues I need to be aware of. And so at that point, he didn't bring up any issues at all. It was just the fire marshal a couple hours later after he decided to, that he'd get more mileage out of turning this in as opposed to saying that he had an issue. I would have no problem. He says, no, they're illegal, we can't do them, it's too dry, it's too windy, it's too whatever. That's why I was asking the question. And so at that point, we could have at least just squashed it right then and corrected whatever we're doing. But there's several opportunities in communicating with the fire chief that we try to make sure that we're doing it the right way. And so anyway, that's my part. Joe? That's it? Okay. All right. So thanks for everyone's public comments.
I make a motion to close the public comment.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. We're gonna close anyway. And how about the last item on the agenda?
I make a motion to adjourn tonight.
We do have just one more quick meeting. If you guys want to exit real quick, that's fine. You want to talk out parking lot, but we just have a town council water meeting to do real quick. And so I'd like to call that meeting to order, the council water district regular meeting. And like to do a roll call.
Debbie
Pop here. Everybody, there's a meeting going on.
And all we have on the agenda is approval of minutes for June 9th, or 12th, excuse me, 2019. Any questions on that?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of the town water district regular meeting on June 12th, 2019.
Vote? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the last item on the agenda?
I make a motion, we adjourn town council water district regular meeting. Richard?
Second. Vote? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right, meeting adjourned. Shortest meeting in